At this time, the mayor will call together the special city council meeting and workshop for 6 p.m. on Tuesday, November the 30th, 2021, City Council Chambers, 201 East Nash Street, Terrell, Texas. We have in the chambers tonight District 3, Mayor Ronnie Velasquez, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem. We have District 4, Stephanie Holmes Thomas. We have District 5, Tim Royce, Mayor Pro Tem. And we have remote District 2, Grady Simpson. So we do have a quorum. Grady, if you would, please turn on your mic and lead us in invocation.
Yes, Mayor. Oh, Father God, we come once again giving you thanks for another day we have not seen. We thank you for all the blessings and the joy of living. We give you thanks and gratitude for just sending your son, Jesus Christ, to leave an example by which we should lead and follow. We ask that you would guide us as a council in making right decisions and doing justice and truth to the citizens of Terrell. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to gavel out. We're going to recess for about 15 or 20 minutes to go do our Christmas tree lighting. So at this time, we're going to... y'all are all welcome to come out and watch the tree lighting if you like. Ready? All right, so we're going to gavel back into our regular session, our meeting. Our next item on the agenda is Mayor and Council Community Recognition and Events. Tonight, we're going to recognize the Terrell High School varsity cheerleaders and Coach Chrissy Metter. Chrissy, if you would, I think we're going to see a video, right, first? Is that right? So we're going to see the video. Once the video's over, if you'll come forward and introduce the girls to us, we sure would appreciate it. And we have a little gift for you as well.
It's like running through an open door. It's like finding what you're looking for. We've been waiting. We won't wait no more. Every season, every memory made, all the dreaming. Let us.
Now we got it.
There you got it.
It's like running through an open door. It's like finding what you're looking for. We've been waiting. We won't wait no We got a beautiful story. Every moment on and on. We got a beautiful story. And we've only just begun. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to, the best is yet to come.
Man, that's nice. You know, so anytime we get an opportunity as a city to recognize our youth and the leadership that they represent, not only for the school district, but for the kids throughout the community, it's a great day for us. And so with that, Chrissy, we'll turn it over to you. And if you'll introduce your girls, please.
I'm Chrissy Metter. I'm the cheer coach for Terrell High School, and very honored to be here tonight. And I want to introduce my co-captains, and they're going to speak to you a little bit. I just wanted to say that this particular group of young ladies has really raised the bar of what it means to be a cheerleader, to be a leader. I see them someday sitting in your seats because we're raising them to appreciate the community that they're being raised in, and to just really be givers back to the community, as you've seen in so many different capacities, is so many different situations, and with every age group, and just a lot of different things that they've been doing throughout the year. So I'm really excited and honored to just be their coach.
But before you leave, because some of the council don't know who you are and what you've done in the community, give us a little bit of a background for them that don't know what you've done with cheer groups. I mean, even the younger kids, right?
Yes, sir.
So would you please touch on that just briefly?
And my name is Chrissy Metter, and again, I'm the cheer coach for Terrell High School varsity, JV and competitive. And I've owned a gym in Terrell. This is my 30th year. Some of your kids have actually been to my gym. We have 2 national titles for tumblers, which is my gym. And raised lots and lots of kids. I have a 100% success rate. If they try out through tumblers, they usually go on to be on the teams at the high school and the middle school level in our city and in others. And so it's just, I was a cheerleader in Terrell High School. Life came full circle for me. I went to school to be a nurse, have 7 children, and just very excited to come back and give to my community.
And the tumblers usually participate in the Christmas parade also.
Always.
Right?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
so Chrissy's done a lot for this community, and as mayor, I want to say thank you. Not only her, but her family too, but special thanks to you for giving leadership to the girls, and it's paid off. I can already tell. But
Ethel Livingston and Tina Schultz. Very big impact on my life.
Right.
And when they were cheer coaches for me, they taught us to be leaders.
Right.
Cheer was second.
Yeah.
So
it's in the name, cheerleaders.
that's
So
right.
yes.
And these are the co-captains, Gracie Hamilton and JC Merritt.
All right, come forward, Gracie.
I would just like to thank y'all for letting us come out here. We have been trying to paint the town red with our spirit flags, and the city has shown a lot of support, and we really appreciate that. We have this signed flag to present to you, and we just want to thank y'all for everything that y'all have done, the city, and especially you, Mayor Carmona. So.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. You know what? I don't have a restaurant to hang it in anymore. If I did, I would. But I do know the owner, so I might be able to pull some strings and get that hung up at the new restaurant. So, but I really appreciate that. And did you want to say a few words?
I just want to say thank y'all for supporting us, especially you, Mr. Carmona. And we're super excited to go to nationals and having all the support behind us from the community. And it really shows that what you give in is like what you get, because we put so much into this community. And I mean, y'all probably see the cheerleaders everywhere. And it's just really exciting to see everybody come back to support us whenever it means the most to us.
And you're still doing some fundraising for that project.
Oh,
is
yes.
that
We are
correct?
fundraising all the time.
Right. So, you know, if we can help them out a little bit on our social media, it'd be great to see if we can get them some more funding within the community and support from others in the community. Absolutely going to do that. Do you want to introduce your the squad? Are they all, so y'all are juniors or seniors or?
We have freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and
Okay.
seniors.
So if you would, just your name, or if the co-captains want to do that, name and what year they are in school.
Okay, so y'all just like wave whenever I call your names. So there you are. So first we have Camille Gillespie. She's a freshman. And then we have Paige Newberry. She's a sophomore. We have Emily Barnett. She's a freshman. Brooke Calloway. She's also a freshman. Allie Hamilton. She's a freshman. Lexi States. She's also a freshman. Emma Colthorpe. She's a sophomore. Miss Colthorpe, you're a junior. I'm JC. I'm a senior. And this is Gracie, and she's a junior.
So, you know what, it says a lot to have that many freshmen that are able to come and participate today.
So
Go ahead.
there are 19 girls total in our cheer that is going to nationals, and everybody that you don't see present tonight is in the play for the theater at the high school. So we encourage y'all to come out on Saturday and support them.
Sure.
But they're at play practice time.
Wonderful, good. We have some gifts, and then we would like to take a photo with the girls if we can. So we'll do that presentation. Council, would you join us? Or does any of the council want to say any words to the cheer group?
I guess, something I'll say, Mayor, is I always love to encourage our youth to be active in the community, to seek higher education. And it's okay to go off and go to college or military or whatever path you decide to go on. But just remember, Terrell, raised you, and if there's an opportunity to come back to give to the community, to start a business, to work here, or to serve on city council in the future, I hope that you'll consider that and share with others what a great place Terrell is. So thank you.
So just wanted to say thank you for your positive energy and goodwill. I had a high school head cheerleader, and she's down at College Station right now. So with that being said, thank you for all the volunteer hours, because giving of time is one of the best things that you can do with your life, because time is the most valuable thing we all have. So thank you all.
Thank you, guys. I see you in the community all the time. What you do in the community counts. It lives on after you're gone. So I know you don't want to hear that now, being freshman and sophomore, but it means a lot to see you guys. I'm a graduate of Terrell High, proud graduate. My niece Courtney is on the squad, and I thank you, Ms. Matter, for everything you've done for the community and helping shape our girls into the women that they're going to be here, that they are. All right, thank you.
I have to say I have more kids than I can count in tumblers, so thank you, and tumblers is awesome.
All right.
Thank
Girls, if y'all will line up here, then we'll get the council in front of you, and we'll take a photo real quick. And then we have a gift for you. I'll let you. Come on over. Boys. Hey, Ronnie.
I think you're gonna get lost back there.
I'd rather see y'all.
Can you go, wait a second, can you go to the other side?
Let's get me around. I don't
Because you're short. I don't think I'll block you. I'm pretty tall though. See everybody? Come on, come on. That's me. Thank y'all. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Wrapping people's presents. I saw, wrapping presents was the way to
All the way till close.
Did everyone get one? Yeah, maybe she said. All right, thank you all. Thank you, guys. Thank you. My hands are cold. Warm water. Warm water.
Hey, thank y'all so much for the flag. I was worried I wasn't gonna get it. I requested this at the beginning of the season. Nice Christmas present. Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
It's right colors too for Christmas.
Yeah, that's Christmas colors.
Indeed it is.
Hey, Grady, you're missing all the fun.
Yeah, I see, Mayor. I'm over here crying. I'm jealous.
Do you happen to know when the last time you went to nationals?
Okay, are we good to go for business?
We are. Sure, go ahead.
The rest of the stuff is probably a little boring. If y'all want to stay, you're welcome to, but again, thank y'all for coming tonight and participating in the council's meeting. Our next item on the agenda is to hear remarks from visitors. At this time, we set aside on the agenda to invite persons to address the council on issues not subject to public hearing. Routine administrative matters are best discussed with the appropriate city staff before bringing them to the council. Prior to the meeting, you fill out a form, and we do have a 3-minute limit for the speakers. We've set aside about 15 minutes totality for this item. At this time, Mary Bryant, would you come forward? So if you would, ma'am, just give us your address and name, and then we're here to listen.
I just want to say good evening to the ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Mary Bryant, and I live at 401 South Francis Street here in the city. I'm here tonight to make a statement and ask questions about the proposed town center project. I was told at a council meeting some months ago, when my property was in jeopardy due to another city project, that the problem had been taken care of and that my property was safe as far as the city project was concerned. Now I find myself in another dilemma. The city has condemned my property so that they can acquire it through eminent domain for another city project. I'm angry, sad, confused, and feeling helpless. I would like to know why this area was chosen and why the project had to come so far into the residential area of South Terrell and displace senior citizens and other families. I am not against progress and improvements, but I do wish that you would consider the citizens and how the changes will affect them when you make plans. I will have to leave my home of more than 60 years. I'm 76 years old and relocate, which is not an easy thing to do. It would be helpful if you would provide me with a map of the affected areas so that I can make a safe decision on relocation. I would like also to know the timeline for beginning the project and the projected completion date. Your cooperation will be greatly appreciated. I would also like to publicly apologize to Councilwoman Velasquez for venting my frustrations on her today. She caught me at a bad time, and she didn't deserve that, so I'm publicly apologizing to you for that. You have no idea of the pain and frustration this project is causing, and I wish you could understand. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Bryant, thank you for those comments. The council will certainly take that under consideration, and we'll have staff or legal get in touch with you on this matter moving forward. Our next item on the agenda is discussion items. Discuss award of Market Center Lift Station and Force Main Project. This is going to be Steve Rogers.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have before you in your packet a recommendation for one of our projects that's in our Texas Water Development Board borrow, and this is to upsize an existing lift station. It's called Market Center Lift Station. This lift station was built in 2004. It wasn't used until 2015, when Buc-ee's came online, it was built to serve that whole area out there. What we found out after a couple of years of them operating is this station, when originally designed, was undersized and need to be upsized to provide capacity for the entire development out there in Market Center, which is east of FM 148, and Crossroads, which is on the west side of 148 between I-20 and Spur 557. So in your packet, you have on agenda page 5, you have a map. And if you can look at that map, you have at the bottom left-hand corner, excuse me, the lift station site, which just is immediately north of Interstate 20 at Sage Hill Parkway, or the former County Road 305. And there's a yellow dash line that leads from that lift station in a path that goes behind the retail, behind Film Alley, and crosses over Spur 557 and parallels it and comes up behind the Exxon Denny's, which is at the top right-hand side of the page, and that's emptying into a place where the existing, this is a new path for the pipeline. It's gonna be an 8-inch line. There's 7,000 feet of pipeline in that. We're upsizing the lift station from 0.3 MGD to 1 MGD, and it'll serve the remainder of that development that's out there. And so we opened bids on October 7th. We had 2 bids received. The lowest bid received, we have a bid tab by summary in a memo from Freese and Nichols on page 6 of your packet. There were 2 bids received, and the low bid was from, excuse me, FM Utilities LLC, and this is a recommendation letter from Freese and Nichols, is on page 6 and 7. Following behind that is the actual bid, detailed bid tabulation. Behind that, there's some bonding and more information on credit rating of FM Utilities LLC. Excuse me, and then starting on page 12 of your packet is a contract that we will enter into. We'll ask next week for the city manager, for you to authorize city manager to enter into a contract with FM Utilities LLC for amount of $2,383,543.60. This number is higher than what we had budgeted for this project. We don't feel like we'll get numbers any lower than this if we rebid it, and we're gonna make up that capacity within our borrow that we have from some other projects to fund this entire amount. So with that, Mayor, I'll answer any questions anybody may have at this point.
So this is a new line? Is it a parallel line, or?
It's a new line that's upsized. The existing line is 6 inches too small to handle the capacity of the lift station. So we have to put in an 8-inch line. The existing alignment follows all the businesses that front on 148 on the west side. So anything from Chipotle to Specs on that side of the road, including Freddy's and Cane's and Chick-fil-A, we would be disrupting all those businesses' front yards by taking that same route. With our development partners out here in the EDC, we were able to get this entire route either on existing easements or existing right-of-way or donated right-of-way. So we didn't have to expend any funds for this alignment, which was a good part of this project. It was really good at working with our development partners that they donated this pathway for us.
And that'll handle, 8 inch is gonna be enough for the rest of the development.
8 inch will handle the rest of the 255-acre development and anything else that develops on the Market Center side on the east side as well.
And it was $500,000 less, right at, on the bids?
It was more than what we had budgeted.
How much?
Probably about $400,000. We had it right under $2 million, and our estimate was a little bit dated. Some of the things have increased in cost over the last 2 to 3 years it's taken to get from that point to here. We didn't quite escalate like costs have done recently or in the last year or so, where we've seen this inflation.
And this bid is good for, does it say on here?
Say again?
The bid is good for how long?
Bid's good for 90 days
90
after
days,
we open
okay.
it. So we're planning on awarding it next week
Okay.
with council concurrence.
Right.
And they're prepared to, as soon as we award the bid, to enter into a contract with FM Utilities, get them to order the pipe and anything. A lot of things are having long lead times now. We're finding on all of our projects, and you'll see some more of that coming up in the next few weeks as we try to advance some projects that are struggling because of this whole issue of increased costs and supply chain issues and all that's affecting everything that we do.
Well, that was leading into my next question, is that the longer we delay, the more increase the cost is gonna be.
That's right.
Right. So I just wanted to.
Again, it'll be more than $2.3
Sure.
million,
No,
no doubt.
but we'll be able to get the materials they need for this project.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anybody have any comments, questions?
No,
This is a discussion.
When if they're awarded the contract, like when will the work commence or?
We expect the work to start right after the first of the year, and it'll probably take about 12 months to build. It'll be most of 2022 that this will be under construction. We expect it to be online and commissioned within a year, within 12 months.
Yes, Mr. Rogers.
Hello,
Hey, how you doing, sir?
I'm good.
All right. I just wanted to clarify one thing. I think I kind of got cut off here for a second, but you were saying that the new partners that we have are going to be creating new pathways for this line to be laid, so it would not go in front of the stores, going from Chipotle to Specs. Is that what was said?
We're taking a new pathway for the pipeline that is called a force main, which is be under pressure to move the wastewater from the lift station to the discharge point. And so the yellow pathway, the yellow pipeline, we're doing two things. We're taking a new route and we're upsizing what's there, and we want to not disrupt all the businesses in front of 148 where the existing pipeline is. We would have to.
Great job.
Most
That's
of,
good.
most of their yards.
Yeah.
Okay,
Great job. That's
Yes,
beautiful.
sir.
Thank you.
all right. Anyone else? Again, this is just a discussion. We'll see this again next week.
Yes, sir. Should be on there for action next
All
week.
right. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is discuss petition for the creation of the City of Terrell Crossroads Northwest Public Involvement District 5. Mr. Sims?
So, Mayor and Council, I'm going to take it over to agenda item page 20. There's the notice there of public hearing. This has already been in the newspaper. Basically, out in our Crossroads area, we already have one public improvement district that takes care of the pond that's up front next to Interstate 20 and the drainage that leads into it. There's another drainage system and wetland system that's more in the center and towards the north side of Crossroads. This is the second public improvement district out there. It's actually our public improvement district number 5. As you guys know, that means that basically the landowners out there have voluntarily requested a higher property tax rate so that there can be extra and additional work done by the city in that area. And so as you see on the public notice there, we think that we're going to be spending about $75,000 a year. We'll need a 3.75 cent tax rate associated with that in order to cover that. And it's basically the wetlands, the open space, the common drainage areas. If you flip over a couple of pages through here, you can see as you scroll through the petition, we've got 2 identical petitions, one from one landowner, one from the other. So that's what we needed to be able to move forward. There's actually 4 parcels of land owned by 2 different entities out here, and all of them have signed up for this, so it's a 100% voluntary public improvement district. If you look at agenda item page 27, you can see a schematic of the area. Pond 2 is the large pond that's out there now. I'm pretty sure at least one council member has already gone for a jog around the sidewalk that goes around part of the lake, and we'll be maintaining that lake with the public improvement district that's out there. We want to make sure that we have the resources necessary to mow it, dredge it, clean cattails out of it. We've had a problem in one of the other ponds with beavers wanting to move into our maintenance pond, and so we use our resources there to just keep all of that clean and looking good. I think maybe the council phrase there is crisp and clean, and a public improvement district for maintenance helps us be crisp and clean. The next page in there, agenda item page 28, is the maintenance program. I won't read all of that to you, but basically this is what the Public Improvement District will actually be doing. Stock and fish, maintaining habitat, making sure the wetlands are taken care of in the right way, making sure that we've got it mowed. There's a lot of routine maintenance associated with this. Special maintenance items are included as well. There's a monthly cycle, there's an annual cycle. We'll follow all of those. We'll have a contractor do that work. As with our other public improvement districts, we do pay a little bit of the cost out there because we're also a landowner with some of our rights of way out there, but that's not a large expense, and we do that through our stormwater fees to make sure that we're making this public improvement district whole, if you will. I'm going to highlight also that because there are some U.S. Army Corps of Engineer wetlands in that area, not only do we maintain the man-made drainage system out there, we'll also be maintaining the natural drainage system out in that area where the designated wetlands are. And there's a provision in here that allows us actually to decide to buy those out. It's a fairly complicated process to be allowed to buy out wetlands, but it may be that for whatever reason in the future, we need to do that to make an overall better operation, and this provides a financial mechanism for that as well. So that's the Public Improvement District. You will see this coming at your public hearing on the 14th of December. Like I said, we have it here so you can see it ahead of time because it will be a voting item in the 14th of December to put the Public Improvement District in place.
So again, council, this is just for your information. We'll see it and vote on it at a later date. That the creation of the Public Improvement District just allows us the opportunity to maintain the properties and not absorb all of the cost.
Yeah. If we didn't have this structure in place, the city of Terrell would pay $75,000 a year to maintain all of that drainage. And so we said, hey, developers, you're going to have to agree to take this as property tax because we don't want to lay that off on Terrell taxpayers. For comparison, Public Improvement District number 2, which is the existing Crossroads one, that's generating about $60,000 a year, again, paid for by the property owners. The Public Improvement District over at Market Center, which is the one next to Buc-ee's, that's about $50,000 a year. So we're pushing about $200,000 worth of additional property taxes out in that area, specifically designated to just make that area crisp and clean, and it was all voluntary Public Improvement District petitions.
Anybody have any comments, questions? All right, our next item on the agenda is discuss Venture Phase 2 Development Agreement. Again, Mr. Sims.
So, Mayor and Council, you'll know that the name of the Magnolia Grove apartment complex owner is a group called Venture. They've got the one, it's been very successful. They want to move forward with the second one. They've got all their zoning approvals already taken care of. So on agenda item page 39, we can see that there's an agreement in place that allows us to get them to do just a little bit more fancy treatment of the, what I'll call the rear side of their apartment complex. The front side of theirs is going to front on Crossroads, directly adjacent to the current Magnolia Grove. On the back side, we've asked them to do some special amenities that cost about $400,000 for them to build, and they've agreed to do that. We've reviewed some plans of that. That brings that sidewalk around that side of the pond area, puts a lot of trees over there, make sure that that's a nice amenity area. They have a small plan. I want to emphasize small plan for a little bit of kid level fountains out there that will be lighted little nozzles that can spray up from time to time. So that's a great opportunity for us. They'll build all of that at their cost. They'll actually pay us $804,000, and then they'll spend $400,000 additional to the $800,000 building the interface and the public side of that interface for us to build that park amenity We will reimburse them later on when it's all done, $190,000. So that puts us up $1 million and gives us the amenity that we want to have out at our pond and lake area. So we've included all of that here. We are going to ask you to vote on this next week. We'll have a representatives from Venture there at that time. The SUP is included because they've got to follow all those rules in order to get reimbursed. We've got that same map in there that you saw in the Public Improvement District that lays all of that out. We'll be using some of those $800,000 for part of the match on our Texas Parks and Wildlife project out in that area. And then we'll be using the other part of it in a reimbursement agreement that I'll describe next. So next time you see it, it will be attached to a resolution that will be an authorization resolution and be able to move forward on this project. Happy to answer any questions about it.
Again, these development agreements are worked out between city staff, Mike, and the developers, and then they're brought to us for approval, right?
Yes, sir.
The negotiations are back and forth. I can tell you that we are pushing the bar for the developers to bring quality development to the city. And if they're not willing to do that, if they're not willing to spend some of their money and reinvest back into our community, then we don't have a whole lot to negotiate with these guys, and we just won't negotiate with them. So Mike, great job. Does anybody have any comments or questions or about the process itself?
I think what really stood out to me was that this will allow for the matching for the new park there, so it's not going to come out of, our community members' tax dollars to pay for the matching grant. I think that's the neat thing about the new park that's going in the area here.
The park we've generally talked about as, staff's kind of already nicknamed it Gold Star Park. I kind of need to bring that to a vote as well. But the lake there that might be Gold Star Lake and the park there that might be Gold Star Park, that gives us a great opportunity to really make something special for our community. And again, the special part of all of that is the 2 apartment complexes, the developer, all of that is what created the financial engine to be able to do the project in the first place. So we're able to move forward, and we'll know that that park got developed with no City of Terrell property tax or sales tax dollars, all of it being developed by the development partnership.
Yeah, and the Gold Star families are those families who have lost loved ones in combat, right? In theater.
Yes, sir.
Right, so we had 5 during the Iraq, was it Iraq?
Iraq and Afghanistan combined, yes, sir.
So those families had reached out to me at one point, and Mike and I had talked about how can we recognize, they were all young kids. I think I brought and spoke a little bit about the individuals themselves. They were all young who gave their lives so that we could have our freedoms. And I think if we honor them by naming this lake on their behalf and maybe having plaques or something about each one of them is a great thing. But we'll need your input, and you're right, we should vote on this at some point. Does anybody have any comments, questions? Our next item on the agenda, discuss Crossroads area. We've already done that one, right?
No, this is the reimbursement agreement.
Okay.
It's the 3rd in this series.
So this one is discuss Crossroads Area Amenities Reimbursement Agreement. Again, Mr. Sims.
So Mayor and Council, this is the last part of the puzzle. This is just another part of the funding strategy here. The original developer of the land also wanted to participate with us in making sure that this park area looked terrific. So basically, they agreed to do about $400,000 worth of work out there. Some of it you can see already because we've got some work done on the installation of the dock out there, and we've got the partial trail that's out there at this time. That work by that developer needs to get reimbursed, and we'll be using part of that payment from the apartment complex in order to do that. So this gives us just another little funding source to make sure that we've got good construction of good park amenities out there. So the whole program works together in a variety of different agreements, but they all come together to deliver a great project for us.
Yeah. Again, if you want quality, these are the type of things that we do to ensure that. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, we'll discuss, our next item on the agenda is 6.5, discuss presentation regarding Section 3 program and policies related to the Texas Community Development Block Grants, number 7220459, number 7220232, and number 7220076. This is our Emergency Management Coordinator, Dustin Connor. Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So this presentation takes care of a requirement from Texas Department of Agriculture for their block grants, the community development block grants. We have 3 of those right now. The numbers which you just read off. So the sewer system improvement, a downtown sidewalk and accessibility, and then the FAST fund. One of the requirements that was put on those grant programs, any current active grant programs, was that this Section 3 was presented to City Council for their review so that they were aware of the requirement of the program. So the City of Terrell has 3 currently funded programs. As a condition of the funding, the city must comply with Section 3 of Housing Urban Development Act of 68, which just says that grant recipients must direct economic opportunities generated by the block grant to low and very low income persons. We're using public management to make sure that we're meeting all of those requirements. The overall purpose of Section 3 is to make sure that we're providing an opportunity for those low-income businesses to bid on these projects where it's applicable. So going forward, public management, which is the grant administrator for all 3 of these programs, is going to take care of all the record keeping and documentation to make sure that we're compliant with the TDA requirement.
So the requirement only says that we give them an opportunity to bid, not that we
That's right.
award the bid.
We're not, there's no requirement to award the bid based on that. It's required that we afford them the opportunity to bid.
And that's fair. That's a fair way to do business. Does anybody have any comments or question on this item?
I want to make sure I understand this, and thank you, Connor, for being here and presenting this. So in the regional area, which happens to be the center of the city of Terrell, I'm thinking, community by the Terrell State Hospital, the area that we're in now, most of, what's below Highway 80, up to Old Castle and Gilbert Willie. So for any of the 3 projects or future projects that we receive CDBG money from, we want to make sure that any contractors that live in this area have the opportunity to bid.
Yes, ma'am.
What do we anticipate? What has public management already discussed that they look to do to make sure that any potential contract or any contractors living in this area or near the area are made aware of the opportunity to bid on these projects?
I think the primary thing that we do to make sure that people in this area are aware of the opportunity to bid is that we post it in the local paper. We post it in our local media so that it's done here locally. As far as if there are other options or other things that should be done, public management, since we are using them, they've been more versed in this than I have. So I can't speak to what it is that they're doing. I can get those answers for you, provide that, but I don't know.
I think what the councilwoman is wanting to be sure of is that these contractors don't miss an opportunity because of something we didn't do, right? So maybe we get with our EDC group and get a list of the contractors, and we make an effort. I think that's just good business for the city anyway, and for the councilwoman and her concern is to make sure that we're reaching out and doing everything we can to let them know, right? And I would be supportive of that. I think we would all be supportive.
And part of the answer is that both us and public management are always trying to find these folks.
Yeah.
And we've had cases where somebody would walk up to one of our construction projects and say, hey, here's my business card. I also do this kind of work. Turns out their business is in Dallas County or Collin County, but they just happen to live here.
Yeah.
Well, that's terrific. That's exactly the kind of contact we need. So part of it is just the grunt work of the grassroots effort of saying, here we are, this is the work we're doing. We have an open door, give us your information so that whenever we do these projects, we can get that notice out to you. And the chamber's been very helpful in that in the past.
I would add for the council, you know, the contractors that aren't big guys, corporate guys. Sometimes they have issues or troubles getting the bids in on time in a timely fashion. If that's the case, we can't bend the rules for them, but we can give them an opportunity and play on a level field and trying to get them to bid. And that's what we're agreeing to do, is that we're gonna try to make it as easy as we can for them to bid it for the bid process. Not that they're gonna be awarded or not.
Yeah,
that
and
we'll
I
use them.
can tell you examples of when both public management and Glenn Caldwell have sat down with folks who said, look, I've never done this before, and how do I do it? Well, they might not be competitive the very first time for the very first project that they're hear about, but if you'll train them and you'll work with them and you help them go through some bonding or you help them go through some other programs, then suddenly 6 months later or a year later, they are ready to compete. They are ready to be one of the contractors that might be able to get the job. And we've had success of that sort of thing happening.
Yeah, and that's where I was going with this, because I know that the EDC and the chamber have the ability to pull list of, who's registered in the city. Maybe they have an opportunity to list, see where their home address is, and be able to reach out to those individuals, whether it's a phone call or an email, a letter to that home address that's in the community, and then going to something that the mayor mentioned is, and Mike mentioned, educating the small businesses. You know, I hear, not specifically related to CDBG necessarily, but overall from small business owner in the community, woman-owned, minority-owned, new businesses that they're not aware of the opportunities to bid for a grant, or how do you get contracts with the city. So I think there's always an opportunity to do something better to improve the way that we're doing things. So if we're leveraging public management at this time for doing this work, could we not leverage them to help us, improve our best practices? And I realize that, if I ask, let's put a kind of a couple sheets of paper together with next steps, that may be helpful to some, but it may not be helpful to all, because you do have those small businesses that need somebody to sit down with them and take the time to explain what that looks like. I'd love to be able to see more of that being done in the city of Terrell, not just for CDBG type of contracts. So if we're already leveraging public management for that work, why not, leverage them for the greater good of the city here?
Very good. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Mayor. Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Sims, yes, I do know from personal experience that the city of Terrell works good, with smaller businesses. I've come across quite a few of them. They don't understand, business strategies when it comes to bidding. And I know for a fact that Glenn Caldwell is excellent at guiding people like that through a process. Not necessarily helping them get the bid, but at least posturing them to have an opportunity. So I think Terrell is postured very well to help small businesses do that.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that it's a win-win if we can keep the money in our city. Right. Thank you, Connor. Does anybody have anyone else? All right, our next item on the agenda is discuss and consider Texas opioid settlement. This is Mike Sims, 7.1.
So, Mayor and Council, I'm going to ask you to turn to page 70 of 108 here. So page 70, that's the opioid settlement information. I don't often say, hey, I'm going to show this to you and ask you to vote on it immediately, but there's a time deadline here, and it's money that we very much need that's going to help our police department. So page 70 has a summary of the proposed opioid settlement. So it's a bit of a bad news thing, right? Because we have had an opioid crisis throughout America. There's been very large lawsuits associated with that. And there's literally billions of dollars being provided by some pharmaceutical companies over to various states. We have a portion of that share of that agreement coming to our state of roughly $1.5 billion. There's a formula in that agreement that directs how that would go to different local governments, but there's no dedicated method for the money to get to a local government. Each individual local government has to take a council action to join into the settlement. And so Greg's kind of guided us through that process. We had a meeting with a couple of representatives from the Texas Attorney General's office. They're the ones going out and kind of talking to folks about this, trying to get folks to sign up for it. If you go through the presentation, which I'm not going to ask Greg to do today, but it's in there and you've had a chance to flip through it a little bit, you'll find the number in there of about $181,000 is the amount of money that will come to the city of Terrell. That's going to be spread over several years, but we do think that if we sign on to this, we'll get the bulk of that money in calendar year 2022. When we met with the Texas Department of, the Texas Attorney General's office, our big question was, well, what do we spend this money on? If we're going to receive the money, how do we spend it and spend it correctly? There's a gigantic laundry list of things that you can do with this money that we're not good at. And it has things to do with public information campaigns aimed at potential misuse of opioids, medical treatments for people who are already hooked on opioids. And we looked at all that and said, gosh, that's not really a match for what we're doing here and what our needs are. So we just asked the simple little question of, gosh, we have a budget goal this year of adding 2 new narcotics officers who would be directed at various opioid problems and other drug-related crimes. Would it be eligible for us to spend that money on City Council's highest goal, which is adding 2 more narcotics officers? We got a smile and a yes on that, and they said, well, thank you for being simple. It's about time one of these local governments we talked to decided to do it the easy way and just hire narcotics officers to work on a program like this. And so we said, okay, well, I think we got a match here. So at that point, we handed it off to Greg, off to Ken McKean, and they're bringing this forward to you. I think, Greg, I can get them to the right page at least, which is going to be agenda item page 90. That's going to be resolution 1076. Greg, take it away and let them know what this is all about.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we'll bring to you tonight Ordinance 1076, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, approving the settlement between the Office of the Attorney General of Texas and certain drug companies and their corporate affiliates, parents, subsidiaries, and other such defendants as may be added to the litigation. Basically, this resolution states that the city supports the adoption and approval of the Texas term sheet, which is a part of the packet that you have that Mike mentioned, that will allocate a total of $181,000, a little bit more than that, for the city to be used, in our case, for possibly the addition of 2 narcotics officers. It's a very good program. We feel like it's very beneficial. I know Chief McKeon supports it, and he's here if y'all want to ask him any questions. So basically with that, we would recommend approval of Resolution 1076.
All right. So I'm always in favor of spending somebody else's money when we have the opportunity. We spend enough of our own taxpayers' money, right? So this is a gift in essence, but it really isn't, because the sad part of it is it's a settlement for individuals who have succumbed to drug abuse, and that's never a pleasant topic. However, we have an opportunity to turn that bad into something good for our community by having two new drug enforcement officers to help in keeping drugs off the street for our city. And so that's a big plus. Does anybody have any comments or questions as to what we're trying to do?
Yes, ma'am. It'll be spread out over a period of time. Most of it will come in next year, in 2022.
I heard Mike say there were a lot of other ways we could use this money.
There are.
I just wondered, I wish I would have had that laundry list early, because we know the I know the devastating effects of drugs. And I would have liked to seen what other ways we could have used the money as well, instead of just saying, I'm not anti for narcotic officers. We need that enforcement. But I sure would like to look at that laundry list and try to make the best decision.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes putting all your eggs in one basket may not be the best approach to win, the war on drugs and addiction. I'm looking at it from a more social standpoint and long-standing standpoint.
I can tell you that, that the folks from the Attorney General's office that we visited with said that they're basically, as long as we can show that it has an effect on drug use, treatment, whatever, that would all be proper uses of these funds.
Yeah, and I guess I'll also just chime in to say I can certainly send that list over to you. Some of that's in the packet because it's in that PowerPoint from Texas Attorney General's office, but I'll send you the list that we have available. A thing that I would tell you help guide us in this is, you're right, there's a diversity of things you need to do in order to fight the war on drugs. The state of Texas is getting funds that they're going to put into some activities that are more what you would call medical approaches, into education approaches, into prevention approaches. So we felt like, well, we've got the state government doing those things. County government is trying to use their $400,000 that they get as part of this, and they want to use their $400,000 to create an interdiction program, so that as somebody is arrested and police officer identifies, well, wait a minute here, or maybe the district attorney identifies, yeah, this doesn't seem like the right person to just throw in jail, right? That they can put that person in a drug treatment program and get them diverted out. So having a diversion program, we're hopeful the county is going to be able to set that up with the money they're getting, and we're hopeful that some of the other approaches, more medical, more prevention, more public education, we're hopeful that the state takes those roles. So I agree with you. You got to do a lot of different things. We're just hopeful that our other governmental partners are going to pick up the load on those other things. But I'll get you the full list.
So
And I just don't want to rely on put that onus totally on other entities, Kaufman, the county, the state. I still want to be a part of that success if we have issues with drug.
I hear what you're saying, Councilwoman, and let me say this to you as well. First of all, the only reason we mentioned the two narcotics officers was something that had been discussed, and that's fine, but we're not tied or, bound by that. Also, you'd be interested to know this, and Mike knows this too, that in addition to these funds that we've talked about, the state will have additional funds that would be where we could ask for a grant to do certain things, and knowing the ability of the city manager in that regard, I'd say we very well could qualify for some of those additional funds over and above what we talked about here in this resolution.
Yeah. So I think this is a good start. I think it's a great opportunity.
So here's my comment on this issue, is that I've seen this before with their COG or North Central Texas Council of Governments, and we've discussed it. And Mike's right and Greg's right that there's some of this stuff that is better handled by the bigger municipalities because they have the opportunity to do it and do it the correct way when we're limited in staff. And then for me, there's no need in duplicating services. I think for us, as we look at it, is how can we best spend the money? And Mike's just being responsive to what we had requested in our budget about 2 new drug enforcement officers, and he saw a way for some funding to come, and we might move quicker on those 2 officers. And so it's not, I don't want anybody to feel like the decision was made by Mike Sims or me or any other person, but this was just for us. Now, here's the thing, though, is that we do have a time issue that we're working against. on this settlement to join. So I just wanted to put that out for you.
Let's get the money.
Yeah.
I would state, we literally tasked the city manager with getting 2 additional officers, right? I mean, we were pretty tough on him as a group, right? So, and so much so, that's the strongest thing we've ever asked for in my tenure here. And this is a way to accomplish it. We've got, we've increased police salaries, and this is just rolling more resources into that. If we do put it towards narcotic officers, does that add additional badges to the force? Okay.
That's the intent, yes. And that's what we would need to do to be proving out to the Attorney General's office and to the settlement committee that is formed as part of this. We'd have to show proof of that. You guys will eventually pass an ordinance. You'll add 2 officers. We'll have to submit documentation along those. I want to go back over to Councilwoman Thomas's point also. Greg's right to say that we have additional grant opportunities. They're just not quite formed up yet because the regional entity is working on those. And I hear you, you're interested in, can we get a grant so that we can be involved in more of the diversity of programs that are out there? And I hear you, and we will work on getting those grants as that opportunity opens up.
As a council representative, I certainly was, one of those, or the person saying, hey, I keep hearing about, drug sales happening next to community members' homes. And I think, and we all agreed in our budget planning that we see it in not just certain parts of Terrell, but throughout all of Terrell, and in trying to make sure that we do right by our community members. And I was excited to hear that the county wants to have a diversion program because, sometimes we all make good and bad choices, and I think it's good that the county wants to have a program where it helps individuals lead them in a different direction. I'm excited to hear that the state will have other opportunities, whether they're, cities, or maybe it's hospitals or substance abuse programs that will, take the lead, MHMR, on something that they're more specialized. I certainly would also say, hey, I want to see the list too on what those other services are. I'm in full support of the funding going to our narcotics officers, and I'm curious too to see what those other opportunities are and what those other grants would be. So I appreciate, the mayor. I'm going to make Mike mayor today. Mike and Chief McKean for bringing this opportunity forward, and would say, continue to bring those opportunities forward to help make sure, to get that free money that the mayor mentioned and do our citizens right.
Okay, thank you, Councilwoman. Anyone else? All right, this is a discuss and consider item. Is there a motion?
Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution number, I lost my resolution number.
1076.
1076 as presented.
We have a motion from Mayrani Velasquez, District 3. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second from Tim Royce, District 5. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry. Our next item on the agenda is 7.2, discuss and consider Kaufman County Appraisal District Board appointments. This is non-style.
Mayor and council, Terrell is allowed to appoint a member to serve on the Kaufman Central Appraisal District annually. Karen Jones has served on the Kaufman Central Appraisal District Board of Directors for 2 terms, and if reappointed, this would be her 3rd term. And in your packet, I have included her attendance record for, and the number of meetings along with, her attendance on those. And there is a resolution in your packet. It's Resolution 1070 that we would need to pass in order to appoint someone to that board.
So she's only missed 2 meetings in 4 years, right?
Correct.
That's a good attendance record. Does anybody have any comments or questions on this appointment?
Mayor, Karen has served on multiple boards. She served on planning and zoning. She's serving on zoning board of adjustment, so she understands, new construction, home values. I, work with her on a different board, and she asks the hard questions. So she advocates for, her community. Her being a representative for the city of Terrell. So I'm confident that she will continue to do that and ask the hard questions and advocate for the city of Terrell with the Kaufman Center, with the appraisal district. So I would be in favor of her being reappointed.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Are you doing so in the form of a motion?
I will if nobody else has a comment. Not hearing any, I move to appoint, actually with the resolution.
1070.
There you go.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 1071 as presented.
1070. 1070.
On the wrong one.
It's 71.
It says 1071 on the document.
agenda, it does, but it's actually
The resolution is 1070, isn't it?
1070.
That's 1070.
Yeah.
Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 1070 as presented.
We have a motion for Mayor Ronnie Velasquez, District 3. Is there a second?
I second.
I have a second from Grady Simpson, District 2. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, let it be known by stating aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion will carry. We have no executive session tonight. We are adjourned. Enjoy your night.